Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Motivation to youth only. Mentally feel like Kobe, I'm like Jokic with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me, I don't care if you pushing 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili, from young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats. Circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's a reach. We ready. Who ready?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the One-on-One Sports Show. I'm trying to get this down started. All right, Alan. But welcome again to the One-on-One Sports Show here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. I'm Mr. Bennett, joined by my partner, Shawnee, tonight. I know the coach. The coach is coaching tonight.
Yeah.
So he's got 8-year-old girls, probably the worst group of folks. I think I'd rather have some 35-year-old NFL players than 8-year-old little girls that I got to coach, man. And if his voice was anything, he didn't have a voice last week for the show, so I appreciate him even showing up last week to be here. But, so he's doing his thing. Hopefully that Dante, he might be able to swing through a little bit later tonight. But certainly make sure when you come in tonight, make sure you hit the like button as you come in. And I got my man, the Boomer, who is certainly on tonight, but this isn't the Boomer show. This is the One-on-One Sports Show. So we got to make sure that we put our banner content up there. So again, make sure when you come in tonight, you'll see our Cash Apps scrolling at the bottom of the screen, but you can also drop a super chat or a Cash App to the Black Man Unfiltered Network. We appreciate the support that you give us as always. And, certainly just looking forward to a show. We got a lot of things going on in the sports world, a lot of breaking stories. You got the World Series. Lots of things going on, but first and foremost, before we get into it, check in with my man, Shawnee. And again, always appreciate you being here, sir. How are you doing, sir?
Man, I'm going good, man. I'm going good. I'm in the midst of betrayal in my own household because my little 5-year-old, she took the time to get on YouTube and teach herself the Fly Eagles Fly fight song. So now she running around the house talking about Fly Eagles Fly.
Wait a minute, first of all, that is blasphemous.
Exactly.
You are a Houston/Dallas household, and you want to come up in here with some Fly Eagles Fly. Someone, I don't know what that educational system is doing down there, man. But you may need to homeschool her to make sure that she gets the message. We do not be saying Fly Eagles Fly in this household. So
yeah, she needs some reprogramming.
Yeah, I know right now, but that's great. That's great. But yeah, man, I'm doing well. I'm just glad to be here. Celebrate a birthday on Monday, and so I'm just glad to.
Related.
Yeah, appreciate it. So just good to be here and just to be part of these activities and just to just having fun with this, and it's always a privilege to share a platform with you guys, and also seeing you and how you guys are progressing your family. You guys inspire me, actually, because I know you guys are still in the trenches. I'm almost done getting my girls at the house. You guys are still very much in the thick of it, raising kids, whatnot. Me and Coach, we kind of looking out on the other side. But appreciate you guys as men, taking care of what you need to take care of and whatnot. So I just really appreciate the example that you and Dante are setting in your families and your households. So really, I really appreciate what you guys are doing. But yeah, man, let's get into this. As always, what we do, we like to give a summary, sort of a high-level view of the NFL weekend, Week 8. So, certainly we like to kind of, take a 10,000-foot view of what's going on, certainly in the NFL at this point, and just look for trends and patterns and things that we've been seeing so far. And for me, what I'm seeing, obviously, certainly start with the NFC East. Seem like the Eagles have certainly started to set themselves apart. Certainly from everybody else. Unfortunately, I know so the Cowboys, Washington, and New York. New York had a devastating loss with Cam Scatterboo out the season with a broken ankle, so he's out. I certainly saw. I'm still smarting from, Green Bay beating my Steelers on Sunday Night Football. So right now they're still the number one seed. With that tie. NFC South's relatively predictable, and like I said, I think the NFC West is going to be a dogfight the rest of the year. I still think at this point possibly the Rams are going to come out of it, but again, between them and the Seahawks, I'll be definitely looking forward to their upcoming matchup. And then in the East, again, AFC South, again, we got to start saying, are these guys legit? Now, typically in the NFL, you typically don't have sort of these breakout teams in one year. You know what I mean? It's like usually you see a pattern of things that are happening for a team to get this good. And even though the Colts, they're 7-1, clearly number one seed in the division, I still don't trust that. And I know we play them this Sunday. So we play them Sunday. So, we'll see, what we can do with that. It's in Indianapolis. But typically, you don't see that kind of turnaround. There was, the quarterback controversy at the end of the year, and you just got some established guys. Kansas City's coming. Denver, which is surprising me, leading that division at 6-2. But so certainly we got to keep an eye on the matchups that are coming up there. But they're on the way. But yeah, my Steelers, they're hurt, man. I can talk about them a little bit later. Maybe we might be getting some relief later today. But certainly that's the only thing that's saving them is the woefulness of the division. But I must say, certainly, thank you, New York Jets. You gave me some relief on Sunday by having that big upset win, certainly over the Bengals coming back. Now we're going to talk about that as well. But that's the landscape so far. It just seems to me that the Eagles have kind of hit a reset on things. Green Bay is going to be certainly very competitive with the Lions. And like I said, in the AFC, I'm really surprised at the Patriots, but I'm still not sold on the Colts so far, despite their 7-1 record and arguably the best player, certainly at running back, certainly in NFL and a potential MVP candidate. But I'm just not there yet. So, how are you seeing things so far? Then we can get into some specific games. But just what's your general take after Week 8, almost at the halfway point of the season?
Well, I think the Colts, they deserve all the credit they're getting right now. Because they have I think they're a legit squad. They have a dominating running game, and they have a good defense. And then they have a quarterback that's playing off the run game, making timely passes, making timely plays. So I think the Colts are legit. It is, gather the team type season because they lost their owner in the off season. And you see his daughter on the sidelines, taking notes and whatnot, but they seem to be rallying around her. So I think they motivated. I think they're a good story, a good AFC team, but just a legit NFL team this season. But when it comes to the AFC, the road to the Super Bowl still go through the Chiefs until somebody actually knocks them off. And the fact that they are starting to catch on right now because they finally got their weapons back. And, it's still halfway through the season, so we still got, 7? We still have 7 games left. 8
Not
games?
9, right?
Not 9. They're trying to look for that extra game, but no, they still have 9 games left. And so it's still a lot of story to be told for the regular season. But yeah, the Chiefs are coming. They only 1 game behind the Broncos, and even if they get in as I'm looking at the AFC standings now, so say, okay, you have the division leaders, so the Patriots, the Steelers, the Colts, and the Broncos, all seeds 1 through 4. And then what is it, 3? Is it 3 wild cards now, or is it just 2? It's still 2.
I think it's 3.
3, okay. So right now, that will be the Bills, between the Bills, the Chargers, and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So they will be in, and they will have to go on the road every game. But you putting the Chiefs, who are very experienced in the playoffs, versus a young team, and the Colts, they ultimately see each other, and I think they see each other within 2 weeks. I think they see each other in 2 weeks, so that's going to be a good game. I don't know what time it comes on, but I would not be surprised that game get flexed into prime time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Now
going to the other side, the NFC side, look at the NFC West. They got 3 teams, just 5 wins, and they got the Cardinals, just a lowly 2-win squad. Um, I know we talked about how the NFC East, they haven't had a back-to-back winner in 8 and 9 seasons.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that loss with the Cowboys had this past week really put them behind. I don't see, and then the Commanders, they just no Jaden Daniels, so that's going to cost them. Of course, the Giants lost another big one. They already lost a franchise receiver and Neighbors.
Yeah, and they're running back.
Scatterbo. So they were showing something, but then unfortunately, they just losing key players. And the Cowboys, they just don't have the defense to keep up with Philly. So I think in the first time in a long time, you're going to see a repeat winner in the NFC East. NFC North, I still have the Lions. They given, Green Bay showed up, but I think the Lions has been more consistent. But that's still a relatively competitive. You got the Bears right behind them, but I'm not going to put the Bears over either one of them.
Yeah, that was a bad loss. I mean, the Bears won. I think certainly they had 4 in a row, and but that was a bad loss by the Bears last week. So again, but and Hank's always calling it out, just the inconsistency of quarterback. I mean, certainly Caleb has not put together like a legit, like a real solid game so far. They've been bailed out certainly by their defense. And so that was certainly a bad loss. We can certainly take a look at this, certainly some of the scores. And as you were saying earlier with the Chiefs, I mean they're rolling 28-7, even though there's no Jaden Daniels, there. But like I said, it definitely seems like the Eagles, they've sort of solidified things on their end, and then the Bears again with the Ravens again still with the Lamar out, and they still got taken out 30-16. So I mean that's. So again, I think that was a really bad loss by the Bears, and that if anybody had any hope in that the Bears would be able to turn it around and make some impact in the in the season, I think all that kind of went aside. Certainly with that loss, and we have speaking of things, we got our guy Dante in the building tonight. Rain or shine, I love it. Rain or shine, he shows up. These colors don't run. All right, so he always comes up rocking either the Lakers shirt or the Cowboy shirt or what have you. So he's always going to be in the house with that. But certainly while you're jumping on board, first and foremost, how you doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing good, man. How's it going for you guys, fellas?
Doing well. We were just kind of giving a highlight, so I want to give you an opportunity. So again, I'm like to start out the show, especially when we talk about the NFL. Just got to get the high level view. 10,000-foot view of what's going on and just your general takeaways from week 8. We'll get into some specific games that were certainly marquee on the calendar, but your general thoughts on what's standing out, what's speaking to you. I already put my 2 cents in. As much as the Colts are a great story, and I know my team is going to play them this weekend, it's typically you don't have this sort of Cinderella in the NFL. It seldom happens like that, especially when you got the powerhouses that are still there, like the Chiefs, who are starting to warm up now, the Bills or whatnot. So again, this is almost like fool's gold to me. And the other thing I didn't even mention yet is high 7-1 indoor team. So again, unless they get the number 1 seed, if they got to go to Kansas City in December or Buffalo in December or whatnot, I'm not trusting that either. Dome teams in winter environments or warm teams in winter environments, that doesn't necessarily play well either. So they better stay up on game. But I'm still, it still sounds like fool's gold to me, even though I love the story and certainly with Irsay dying, the motivation and inspiration of the team and whatnot. But I think when the rubber meets the road, I can't see them being there. But your general take overall.
Before Dante go real quick, Mr. Bennett, you just brought up a point. Now that I think about it, it always seems like Indy is always at home. When I be looking at their highlights, I'm like,
after schedules at home.
I'm like, have they been on the road? I haven't looked at their schedule yet, but since you brought up that point, I'm just thinking about, with them playing, and it always seemed like they playing in Indy. So, yeah, they may have a whole different outcome in the second half of the season.
So far, they've had 5 home games. So they're five home games and 3 away games so far. So, but you're right; it does feel like more though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go
fellas.
ahead, Dante.
So as far as my take, like with the Colts, I got to give them their props. I finally saw somebody mention like, hey, somebody tweeted out a national report was like, hey man, he's the front runner for offensive player of the year, talking about Jonathan Taylor. And
Right.
somebody kind of finally said it was just like, hey, if Daniel Jones had better numbers, he could be there. If these numbers were say what Drake Mays are, who's getting some love, then you could make that argument for him. They're probably going to give him what is it? Which I don't like when they do it, comeback player of the year when you just really just came back from suffering, you didn't come back from injury,
Uh,
which but they've never made a distinction on that as far as awards go. To be honest, the Packers still look strong. I remember we were kind of critiqued by Trey was like, hey, they look like one of the best teams. And we was like, yeah, we prefaced it with early, but they have gone on to look like, hey, as of right now, they would be the number one seed. So it's just kind of like it's kind of one of those deals where they still got time to show and prove, and what they did on Sunday night was definitely impressive. Um, what I also say is when it comes to the playoff picture overall, I really do want to see how it goes down between Detroit and Green Bay. Like
mhm.
that's going to be interesting. I want Philly looks like they're rounding in the form. Finally
Yeah.
got the running game back. When I saw that play, and I was just like, well, this I know they have a chance. I was like, this game might be over if they can get the run game going. And it was obviously the Scatterable injury. I'd say that also on the NFC side, um, don't have any faith in the Cowboys like being like a playoff team just because that was the game where it's just like it's a road game. You struggled on the road, you struggled to beat good teams, and then you got embarrassed. So it's just one of those like I don't see it. I just don't see it unless they just surprise and go down the stretch. I'm rooting for it, but I'm not expecting it. I say on the AFC though, it's gonna be dangerous for the Colts going in the second part because now people are gunning for them. But I don't want people to be fooled by 4-3 Jaguars, 3-4 Texans. Those two teams there, when they get their second opportunity to play them, I'm still not. I still got CJ Stroud stock. I do think that hey, once they get healthy with Nico Collins and they kind of get some things figured out with the play calling, Johnny, everything I see from the Texas fans and media is play calling, play calling, play calling. They are
Yeah,
they
that
are hyper onto the play
yeah.
calling, and I think they're gonna have to get that fixed. Like, have they had their bye week yet?
Yeah, they
No,
did.
that
They
comes
did.
up after the
Yeah.
ninth. So they play the Falcons
Mhm.
on the ninth, and then they get their bat.
Okay.
So basically November 16th is their bye.
Okay,
November,
so that guy needs to do
November
some. They
20
need
is
to do
bye
some
week.
self scouting
Right.
and implement some things.
Right.
But I still
But
not
keep in
giving
mind
up
they
on
got
that.
Kansas City coming off the bye. So that's
Yeah,
never
yeah.
Kansas
Yeah,
City, Houston, Jacksonville, Seattle, San Francisco, and then they got Jacksonville and Houston again to round out the season. So that's
yeah.
not.
Oh, you
I
talking
wouldn't
about the
say. I
Colts?
wouldn't say that's a gauntlet, but it's
We're gonna
it's
see what they're made of. Also, shout out to their everybody kind of joked about their owner being on the sidelines, but I love what she said when she mentioned that like, look, if you're paying people millions of dollars, you might want to kind of know what they're doing and what's going on. And like she clearly is stating, like, um, I don't know this, but I'm trying to learn this world. So she over there with the notepad. It's
yeah.
like it's it started off funny, but it's like it makes
Right.
sense.
Right.
So but I would say
And
oh
also keep in mind that 4 of those wins of their 7 wins is against the Dolphins, 2 against the Titans, 1 against the Raiders.
a lot of
So
fillers. A lot
what?
of fillers though. So it's time to see what they're made of
Extra calories, empty
extra
calories.
empty
Yeah, that's
calories.
what I'm waiting on the game between the Colts and the Texans because the Texans defense is legit.
Texas
They
defense is
offense,
legit.
they offense is not
What's
cooperating with
going
them
on,
at all.
Antoine?
Cause they should have beaten the Seahawks. They did everything in their power. Forced 4 turnovers, defensive touchdown, blocked field goal. Offense still struggling. I'm like, okay, I don't know what more you want the defense to do. You
Mm.
Yeah,
can't.
the office
It's,
office has to step up for them, and I still got confidence in Stroud. But I want to say congrats to the Jets for getting that win. Congrats to
Oh, I needed
everything.
that. That's the only thing
I
that
needed
salvaged my.
that. I needed that bad just to see that because it's like I don't want them to keep getting the stench of losing. And when you get that one win, now when the coaches are saying we told you to do these things, and then now it's like okay, it's reinforcement, like it's finally working. There's proof of it, and then hopefully they can get some more because I want my guy to get a second chance.
what's up,
I
Antoine?
want him to get a chance to get a salute. That's why I want him to get a chance to get a quarterback that they want to give a chance to. Like Fields, I basically sold my stock on him. The proof is in the pudding. I'm hoping he can make it as a backup, and hopefully he can pray to get the Geno Smith route. Where you kind of turn things around and become a starter for someone else, because that's what I think is going to happen with Mac Jones. I think
I
he's going to
wasn't
get.
I wasn't thinking about this prior to the show, but and again, I know we're kind of in the middle of the college season also, so I know we talked about the prospects coming out for 2026. Maybe next show we can kind of dive in and look at these QBs so far and like who the ones you think because obviously Jets are going to be in running for the number one pick coming out. So who's looking like the front runner coming out to be the first pick in the NFL draft? But again, we can maybe save that for a future show before we get into the bowl season. Just kind of do an assessment of these QBs and finally start talking about some college football since we haven't done a lot of that. So I just want to sort of put that in your ear now. And you guys and both of you guys still owe me an assignment. I asked you guys for your top five. I'd say top five. You don't have to go down the line, but I said top five greatest QBs to come out of Texas in your lifetime. So we don't have to go all the way back to the 50s or whatever. I'm just saying since a lot of those guys, at QB, and like I said, they didn't even necessarily have to have a great college career or pro career. Well, I would think they would have to have a decent college career, but certainly they don't have to have the best pro career. But I'm looking for both you guys to do that kind of that. Who's your top 5, top 10, or whatever of the guys coming out of Texas, came up through the Texas high school powerhouses and whatnot. So I'd be very interested in you guys sharing that list. So I'm still going to hold you guys to that. We're going to chop that up and see greatest quarterbacks come out of Texas, at least from the high schools anyway. So I look forward to that conversation. But moving on to again. Again, as you were talking about the Jets earlier, again, thank you. Again, another one of these games where, again, a team is dominant for some time. They're up 15 in the third quarter, and the Jets just methodically just kind of come back and just overcome it to win the game. This is the only thing that gave me any kind of solace from the weekend with the Steelers losing. They also, speaking of the Steelers, they also signed Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Again, this is another Aaron Rodgers, one of his guys and whatnot. And but I don't think for us, I don't think it's the secondary per se that or the offense is necessarily the issue. Now I know we lost the game. We were up, I think 19-6 or 19-7 at one point, and we just got we just couldn't get off the field. Our defense has given up almost 700 yards passing in the last 2 games. So the secondary's gone. We lost our strong safety in Elliott. And I think we also signed another guy today, I think from the Patriots. Another safety from the Patriots today. So we got a lot, our defense, which is the highest paid in the NFL, we got some problems. And, but I don't think it's the offense. I think we're scoring enough points to win, but it's just this defense was supposed to be going into the season the top 5 defense, and Tomlin is known as a defensive guy. And I'm already hearing all the Bluebirds in Pittsburgh, the fire Mike Tomlin chants. The guys are at the gates already with their pitchforks, already asking for him again. So it's like, here we go again in the season. The fire Mike Tomlin chance already out. So again, the only way to turn that around, win on Sunday, and I think he gets a little relief from that. But at the same time, Jordan Love, this is probably the best game he ever played. 29-37, 360, 3 tubs. He's looking very good right now. So again, I'm definitely looking forward to that next matchup. They've already beaten the Lions once. I want to see if they can do it again and really secure themselves in that division, because I don't think Minnesota's going to do anything either. So that's my 2 cents. If you guys want to comment on this, I just want to kind of put this out there and give my sort of rant on the state of the Steelers in Pittsburgh. But again, I think certainly Green Bay, they're looking pretty legit. As far as a contender, and like I said, they are the number 1 seed, and if they get their act together, then they're going to be very dangerous. But any thoughts on this, Shawnee, before we move on to the next one?
Well, yeah, Green Bay is definitely legit. In this game, Love completely.
I look at them as more legit, certainly than the Colts. I said I just got no faith in them at this point.
Yeah, I guess because you've seen Love on a bigger stage. We haven't seen Daniel Jones, because I think the teams are fairly equal. I think the Colts have a better running game. I think their defense is equal. So the difference, is the quarterback position. We've seen Love perform in the playoffs, and he performed high, and then all of a sudden he'll just flip a switch and perform the other way. Jones, we haven't really seen him in the playoffs. I think he only had one playoff appearance, I think. But
Yeah,
he
one.
played.
Yeah,
Right,
and a
just the
playoff
one.
win for the minute. Yeah, and he
Yeah,
had a playoff
so
win
The
I believe
Vikings.
also.
It was against the
but
Vikings.
Yeah.
yeah, so we just seen more of Love, but he completed 20 straight passes during that Steelers game, and so that was like a big reason why they went on to win that game. It's just the only thing about with Jordan Love, man, he could show that, man. He could show he could be up there with the elite the talent level of a top three NFL quarterback, and then he was just all of a sudden just go on a dive, and then start costing his team. There was some careless turnovers, or so it's kind of hard to put your complete trust in Love because you think, okay, he's coming on the side, but then he was like, no, it's still in me. And then, unfortunately, if it happened in the playoffs, and of course, the biggest thing in the playoffs is ball control. So
Mhm.
I'm trying to think of a team in the NFC like, they run past with the Lions. They can potentially see each other three times this year.
Mhm.
You do a turnover, they have the ability to capitalize.
Right.
The Cowboys won't be there, but they was there. They had the ability to capitalize, but they're not going to be there.
Mhm.
I would say the Eagles, but we've seen the Eagles. We thinking they only up and up right now, but we just saw them. They were kind of their own little valley for a little bit. So, do I think the Packers are a contender? Yes, but I think their biggest X factor is just their quarterback. I
Right.
think he can be. But as for the Steelers, it just keeps reminding me they traded their receiver. Now they're looking for another receiver because they need that extra weapon. And what I think about this Scantling, I don't know. Like you say, it's a Rodgers guy. I mean, we already seen how that kind of played out with New York.
Mhm.
Just because he's a Rodgers guy, that don't mean it's gonna equal success like he had in
Right.
Green Bay.
Right.
So I don't know. They just let one get away from them, and now they probably
Yeah,
ain't
well,
gonna be able
it's
to adjust
just
that to the
I don't. I think
draft.
it's just a lack of patience because they went to the same thing with Deontay Johnson. They also had another guy that came out of Notre Dame a couple years ago. It's like diva receivers or those guys that they deem a problem. It's like they just rather get rid of them than anything else. Tom is always known for saying we want volunteers, not hostages. And if you come off as a malcontent, he's just as likely to get rid of you, especially before they have to pay you big money. Now, that's going to be Dallas's problem next year if they're going to give him the big money. You already gave CeeDee Lamb all that money, so what
They've
kind
been
of
talking
contract?
about it. They've been talking about it. They believe Jerry would do it, but
Yeah, so we got to see what happens there. So I'm not necessarily doubting the moves per se, but certainly the fact that they're looking for a wide receiver two, a legit wide receiver two at this point. Because I know they had Calvin Austin, who's fast. He can make some plays, but he's not that legit guy that's going to take the pressure off of Metcalf. So I think they're still looking for that. But again, the offense isn't a problem. It's this defense can't get off the field, and these quarterbacks are just shredding them up. I mean, Flacco shredded them up a couple weeks ago, and so they're in trouble there. But I just wanted to just give you an update on the Packers schedule. So they do play the Eagles on November 10th in Green Bay, and they play at Detroit, and then they also play at Denver. So offhand, those are the only three teams. Everyone else, they got the Vikings, they got the Ravens, the Bears twice, and they got the Giants. So, and next week they play Carolina. This weekend they play the Panthers. So they could certainly, 12 wins is very doable, if not more. So if Detroit, if they want to, certainly if they want to catch up, they're definitely going to have to win their rematch for sure. But I don't see anything in the schedule that is so daunting that Green Bay can't go on a run and solidify their position in the
Eagles, Lions, and that's it.
yeah.
Broncos,
So everybody else now, I know Lamar's going to be back with the Ravens towards the end of the season, but I don't know if they're necessarily going to have anything to play for at that point. And would you want him out there in that situation at that point, or do you want to just rest him the rest of the season? So those are questions that the Ravens are going to have to ask themselves if they want to entertain that. But shout out to my guy Anton from New Jersey. Yes, my Jets finally won. They had a 12th man on the field, and his name was Nick Mangold. Shout out to him. We're going to talk about certainly that was going to be my closing as well. Certainly shout out to Nick Mango, 41 years old. I think he had some sort of cancer, stomach or liver cancer or something like that.
Yeah.
Certainly very tragic, but certainly in this area, New Jersey, New York area, he was certainly the center. But he was certainly the symbol for the Jets. So, really, rest in peace to that guy. But I want to move on to, talk about the evolving story that's coming out of Cleveland. So all of us posted links in the chat as far as, the Cleveland fans are getting tired of it. They're like, what is going on? You guys basically sold us on Dylan Gabriel. You traded Pickett. You traded Flacco. You're saying this is the guy, and he really hasn't demonstrated that, and since he's been the starter. And, certainly Shador, still he hasn't even been named the number 2 yet, so you don't know what's going on there. So this is just it's like just a bad situation overall, but you got a guy who may not be ready, and I'm not saying that Shador is ready, but what do you think, Shawnee, of just this devolving Brown situation, and is Shador going to get a legitimate start? Because it definitely seems like, ownership is, and we talked about that last week with the owner's sons wearing the Shador shirts. So it's almost like the owner is with Shador, but the coach, for some reason, that Sanders is in the coach's doghouse. So how do you think this ultimately is going to play out? Given, especially now where it's like the Browns have nothing to play for.
Well, right now, Shador, he's the most popular dude in Cleveland right now. So,
which is crazy.
You already know what that happens with a NFL team, especially if the starting quarterback is not playing up to par. That noise is going to get louder and louder and louder. And like we said, there's still like 9 games left in the season. When it all started, I was under the impression like I didn't think Sanders was going to start this season because they're going to give Dylan Gabriel a good chance to solidify his starting position. But if he's not playing well, then that's a different story. If Gabriel is on a different team, will he be able to play himself out of the mucky waters? Yes, I truly believe so. Unfortunately, Cleveland, they put themselves in this position. They're going to draft. I don't know. I don't really know if they drafted with a plan. Because you remember when they did it with RG3 and Kirk Cousins, they looked like they drafted with a plan. Now, we don't know that plan is yet to be seen because RG3 got hurt. So it kind of changed their whole thing. But in this case, Cousins wasn't getting the noise like Sanders. RG3 was still the guy. He was a Heisman Trophy winner coming off that time. So he was the guy. Now, when it comes this time, Sanders is clearly getting all the fanfare behind him, so that noise is going to get louder and louder and louder in Cleveland. And then if Gabriel is not going out there and performing to really saying, hey, I could be the starter for this team, because people already feel some type of way because he's not the biggest dude as could be. So, it's, I believe by game 13, you may see Sanders. If Gabriel still is on this path where it's kind of like we need to see more from you, and I think we may see Sanders start by game 13, week 14, something like that. And yeah, just because that noise is just going to get loud and loud and loud. And if Gabriel continues to play like he is, it's not like the Browns will have anything left to play for at that time. So, I mean, if your quarterback, your project quarterback, not looking well, and he's just getting so much noise from the dude behind him, you might as well go ahead and put Sanders in and see what he's going to do. Like I said, in the beginning of the season, I thought Gabriel was going to have at least this rest of this season, majority of it, to show that he belongs, but that's given if he was showing some type of progression. But he almost kind of like going the other way.
He's gonna have the best opportunity over the next 3 weeks. He's got the Jets, the Ravens, and again, I don't know if Lamar's gonna be back, and he's gonna have the Raiders. So that's as easy. And then you got San Francisco, and then you got the Titans, and then you got the Bears after that. So again, it's not a murderer's row. The end of the year, you got the Bills, Steelers, and Bengals.
And
but that's
if
not.
he
And
don't play good, man, if he don't play,
I'm just
like you
saying,
said,
but
those three
the games
stretches,
coming up is like, you got the
yeah,
worst teams in the league
exactly.
that's going to be on your schedule. So if you can't demonstrate then I don't see reason certainly
He should
to
be
to,
able
to
to make some positive deposits those three
absolutely,
games. If he got
absolutely.
some negative withdrawals, okay, Sanders. Especially though, because not only those three teams are bad, they have bad defenses. What's up, Coach? They have
Coach.
bad defense. So, yeah, we may see Sanders by the time this ends. I wasn't expecting it, but you may see something.
Mm. Dante.
So I was shaking my head. I couldn't help but think about the fact that you literally took a quarterback in the third round that you could have gotten all the opportunities to. And then now you got to fight with, oh, we got this other quarterback that's also had good pedigree because I think what happened at eventually, if somebody's going to let it slip, that he was at least a second or a third round grade in teams' eyes. But because of the fanfare, they didn't want to take him. And I think the Browns didn't think he would still be there. They took Gabriel. I guess that they had the higher grade. And then it was like, can't pass on the value. I know this for a fact because I had heard from the Cowboys brass, it's been whispered that they were going to take Shador with their next pick, but he went, all the picks before, which that would have been a nightmare. And so I do think eventually he gets a turn just because it just hasn't been good enough. And it's like if you have these quarterbacks, you want to give them, I'd say, a stretch of games to figure out what they can do. So I can't even know what game this is for Dylan Gabriel, but at some point you have to give Shador a chance because keep it keep in mind they do have two first round picks. They have Mag's first round pick as well as their own, which is going to be the better pick. So there's a chance that you could take a quarterback. Whereas if you give Shador a chance and he makes an actual impact, instead of using that pick, you can get more picks to go down, or just stay where you're at and pick some good talent to continue to build your team because you need as much cap picks a good cheap guys as you can because you're
Mhm.
going to be handling the Deshaun Watson situation and all the other cap stuff that they have. I'm not aware of fully of their cap situation.
Right,
Um,
right.
but I think it's gonna be time. My thing is I told fans of Shadur Sanders, be patient, because it's Cleveland. And now here we are. Like I said, I think if he loses to the Jets, who have one win, I think that's when you might see the Yanks.
I heard that. All right, Coach.
You
Thanks
came
for
right on
being with
time,
us tonight.
coach.
I know you were out there giving it to those 8-year-old girls and whatnot, and so hopefully you have a voice tonight. So how you doing, sir? And what are your thoughts on the devolving Cleveland Browns situation? And when do you think Shador gets the nod?
Really quick, we had a blackout at the local high school. So they wanted my girls to play the other school, other fifth and sixth grade girls, right? Initially, I didn't think I had enough was going to show up, but enough showed up to have a fifth and a sixth grade. Fifth
Okay.
grade played well. I think we won about 10-2, something like that. They showed really good upside. So I was proud of them. It was a whole bigger deal in front of about maybe 150 fans, 200
Mhm.
fans from
Mhm.
the high school. So that was a good experience for them. I was excited. Hey, man, it's about time, man. Shador needs his opportunity, man.
There you go.
I
So
don't
what do
know
you
why
think?
I don't know why they couldn't go 2-2. He played 2 games. He played 2 games. Switch it out because they already understand this season could be a wash. They're already banking on that. They traded Joe Burrow. What's his
Flacco.
name?
Flacco.
Flacco. They traded Flacco. So now why not give him an open opportunity? And it'd be crazy if Shador comes in and run up the score, put up 30, 40 points. Now you're looking at what? He has to start. But I think they both should be getting opportunities, especially now if Gabriel loses this game, like I said, against the Jets. But I think this will be a good game to play both quarterbacks.
Mm.
We're not expecting much from either one, so why not see who can deliver at least some form of offense for you? Because right now they're pretty stagnant. The defense is playing lights out, but they need a spark, and I think
Mhm.
Shador is that spark. But
Mhm.
again, it comes down to coaching and ownership. So
Gotcha.
I believe Gabriel, he was Kevin Stefanski's pick.
Yeah.
and Andrew Berry, Shador Sanders was Berry's pick. And generally the coach they the one who got to coach them up. So I understand, I guess, if you the head coach's pick, you'll probably get more time initially since they got to coach you up. But I believe that's why they didn't go like what coach just brought up like this. Okay, we don't know who we got in either one of you. Two games, whatnot. Because Stefanski, his guy was Gabriel, so he's trying to give him the green light to start. Andrew Berry, his guy was Sanders, but since you the head coach, you get first dibs since you will be the one who has to coach. And Stefanski, before this season, he was viewed as a good coach. I mean, he's a two-time coach of the year. So you believe in his decision making. But with Gabriel, I don't know. It's just a mix. So like I say, if Gabriel, he need to get out of Cleveland because the noise is getting too loud for Sanders, man. I don't think he's just gonna get the ability to grow properly when you have that much noise behind you.
I hear you. All right, so it's moving on. The only more key game I want to highlight, well, just a couple of them actually. Let me just pull these guys up. So again, as we see that the again, certainly Kansas City and Colts, they just keep their winning ways. But again, Colts play Kansas City certainly in the second half of the season. So I think certainly it seems like Kansas City's starting to kind of come into form. We'll see if the Colts can keep it going, as I said, for their wins or against arguably the worst teams out there in the NFL. So we got to see if those guys can certainly put it together. But I did want to give, since we do have our Dallas natives certainly on the floor, I do want to give you a chance to try to give a state of the team at this point. You lost 2 out of 3 games. You have the 31st out of 32nd worst defense in the NFL at this point. But this game in particular, I'm going to question a little bit because I think Denver is a dangerous team, and I think that they're certainly going to be there in the second half of the year. So would you attribute this to more good Denver or bad Dallas? So what's your thoughts on this, or what are the rumblings coming out of Dallas, and also just in retrospect? I mean. We all know what happened at the beginning of the year, with the trade of Micah, and we see where Green Bay is, and we see where the Cowboys are. So do you think that the trade becoming more glaring to Cowboys fans at this point, that they should have signed and kept Micah, or do you think it would have made much of a difference, just given the defense overall, how poor the defense is, just period? So again, your thoughts on the game, your thoughts on the Cowboys, and then also on Denver, because Denver is known for having a pretty good defense, and they're putting points on the board. So your thoughts on just those three. We'll start with Shawnee, and we'll just take it down.
Well, I'll address like this, see if I can address the questions you just mentioned on there. Far as was it more Denver than Dallas, I give credit to Denver. They had a good game plan. I think the game really changed when Dallas didn't score a touchdown when they got it within that 2 or 3 yard line. And the word down here is the offense, they did what they can, but you play against a good team, so you can't always put up 30. But it gave us the 100% proof that we already knew, majority of us knew. The offense got to play like elite versus every single team in the NFL to even have a chance to win. That defense is it's bad. It's just bad. I mean, it wasn't like the offense just got totally shut out, but it obviously wasn't how they looked like prior to the other games of the season. Mm-hmm. But it's like if they don't score a touchdown in one possession, the defense is going, the floodgate's going to open. It sucks to put that type of pressure on your offense every single game. Now, to the Micah thing, will it help? It probably potentially put more pressure on the quarterback, but right now, because the word is, they're trying to see if the Cowboys should make moves with these picks they have during the trade deadline. I'm like, just keep your picks, because no one player, including the Bills, Micah Parsons, is going to help this defense. They have holes everywhere. I'm talking about holes, of course, at the D ends rushing the quarterback, holes in the secondary, holes at safety, holes in linebacker. They have holes. So Like, yeah, you can put Micah on there. Micah probably only thing about Micah, you probably would have called his name a couple more times for getting to the quarterback. But the secondary, if he don't get to the quarterback, the secondary is still gonna look confused to where I think, and I say this real quick before passing to Dante. I think Eberflus is just taking a whole brunt of the blame. I guess understandably he is the defensive coordinator, but he can't. He has to go zone because his dudes are not. They can't really trust him man to man, and then even when he goes man to man, they get beat. So it's just like zone is like the easiest thing he can do. And you saw one time when the Broncos had a touchdown wide open, it's like they assume that somebody's gonna be there, so they hand them off to ultimately hand them off to nobody. So I'm like, it's so basically it's the players. We don't have the caliber of players back there in that defensive end, especially that secondary, and it's just a mess. So that's why I say Cowboys keep your picks. Don't go trading for no Trey Henderson. I know they some names out there potentially, but just take your pick with the draft.
So let me ask you: are you at this point? Again, we don't like to say the T word, but you think it's time to tank?
It's hard to say tanking when you invest that much money in your quarterback. I want the offense to stay. I think the Dallas Cowboys offense could give anybody nightmares if some reason the Cowboys happen to slither their toe into the playoffs, but then you go into another thing though. Now you go into postseason Dak Prescott, who's obviously not the same as regular season Dak Prescott, so that's another conversation.
I got you.
But
Okay.
yeah, the tanking. No, I want the offense to stay doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know, man. It's just bad when you got doing the top offense in the league, and then you literally got the bottom of the barrel defense, and you just
It's not a good combination. But they are number 2 in the NFL. They're averaging 30.8 points a game, 246. So
Behind
overall
Indy,
second
I
out of
believe.
32. So that's pretty bad. They have to almost arguably the second best offense and the second worst defense. Yeah. So you are where you are.
So it's hard to tank when you see an offense that good. You like just give us a chance, but you like, man, this chance not gonna come.
Yeah. Dante, what are your thoughts on the state of the Cowboys? And again, is this more good Cowboys or just Denver? Do you think they're just a better team? I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I'll say definitely Denver's a better team, but I'll say it's two things. One thing is the defense totally, and I agree with you, Shani. When they didn't get that score in the first possession, it's one of those things. On second down, you went play action. What they've had success with, and I'll say this was a bad game from Coach Schottenheimer. Like I would say there were points in this game where he lost the game for the team. And that first drive, you have to get points. I was driving and I was like listening to the game and I was like, okay, they're gonna start slicing this up. And I was like, interception. And I was like, wait, I was like, oh, that's a good sign. Get down in the red zone and then penalties. The penalty on third down, you could have been in position to be like, hey, we're gonna go 4 times. So we don't get it on third, we'll run it and then we'll make play action and then go for the pass on fourth down and have them at least backed up. But when they don't run the ball there and they lose it and you kick the 3, that was a loss. And you come down and give up a 40-yard run.
Yeah.
What they say about Bo Nix, and you talk to other teams, they always like the radio station here 105.3. They talk to the opposing team and they talk about him. And one of the things about Bo Nix is he's the check down guy. Well, you let the check down guy come and light you up. You let the backup running back score his first rushing touchdown in his career. So offensively, that's just the Cowboys are that bad. Defensively, the Broncos are just that good. And the thing is about the Cowboys is that does worry me, Shani. The Eagles are far enough in front. If they do make the playoffs, they're going to be on the road. So unless they're playing a team where the Cowboys are going to make it one of those situations where it's not a true road advantage. Like I think Tampa a few years ago, it wasn't like the true. I saw the videos and it was like, dang, we was a lot of Cowboys fans there. I even saw tickets that were available, and I was thinking about flying out and going to that game. But I just think that it's so frustrating. They can't really tank. Well, if the offense, I'll say this: they will be tanking if the offense hits a skid where they find 2 or 3 games in a row where they don't get it done. They're going to lose all 3 of those games, and that's going to make their pick better. Shadi, I will say is part of me is like trade the picks or don't trade it. After that game, I was like, just keep your picks. but it's so hard for me to have to watch, more games, 7 more games of this terrible defense. I would rank them to do small moves. Like I do think Demario Davis, the older linebacker for the Saints, he could be had for another team that's tanking, literally tanking. If they could get a pick from him, he's the last year of his deal. Like I want to say they laid it out today. They was like, get somebody like that, then maybe take a second and try to get Trey Henderson. 'Cause I don't think anybody else is offering a second. You give them a second, and you have two. You keep your two first. And so if you have your two first round picks, you don't have the second, you don't have a third. You can renew with the other picks and maybe move up and do some things. But I would like to see some small measure of move coming for the defense. Only problem is you need interior defensive line help. Oh yeah. The GM said, "Hey, we got this move to help stop the run." Almost dead last in the running game. So Kenny Clark, after this year, I think that's a cap casualty. They have to find a way to properly build a defense so you're not just letting coaches pick players because they're not going to be here for long. You have to build a foundation of a defense that no matter the coordinator comes in, can do something. And Shawnee, the talent isn't great, but the coaching stuff is well. Like if you ask anybody that talks about it, they're like, man, he's running an outdated scheme. So you're running an outdated scheme that people criticize, and then you're getting into it with your players. Like the Trayvon Diggs situation is its own thing. And it's just like, it's so much bad when you have opportunity to have something to be good. And then the other bad thing is, even if they win 2 games in a row, they played Raiders. They played, I'll tell you this, they played the Cardinals on Monday night. Obviously, if you look at the resale market, I saw some tickets for a combined after fees, $56 to go to the game. The fan base is out right now. People that have it, they are out on the team. They are pretty on top of the fact that the Cardinals aren't the most marketable team. So I would say that's probably the last game that'll be that low because like the Eagles game, the Cowboys fans sell their tickets, the Eagles will come and pack the building. The Chiefs fans, they'll probably come, even though it's Thanksgiving, they'll probably come pack the building. And then the Vikings, they have a strong presence. So those teams, the Vikings look like they're trending down, it's going to be something that when Jerry looks at that stadium and if they get a win, he might feel like he has to pull the trigger over the bye week to make something happen. And I'm hoping over the bye week, if they announce it that Eberflus is gone, I won't be mad at that. I won't be mad at that.
But you brought it up. Remember Trayvon Diggs? He went to the IR. He just got placed on the IR. But I don't think it's not really injury related per se. I think by the time his IR stint is over, I believe he may be. This is like a 4.
You think they're gonna cut him?
Yeah.
I think that relationship got soured. That relationship is soured. What frustrates me about the situation is so many people saying, "Oh, trying to like he was done wrong." Like I don't like the way some people are addressing it and saying, "Oh, he was done wrong. They took away his bonus." Like, no, if your employer doesn't like you, or if your employer does like you, they will do certain things for you. He pissed him off, so he rehabbed in Miami, and he did come back at the start. He may have rushed back, but he was back sooner than the rookie pick that you got that was going to take his spot, who just practice window is open. So I give him kudos for that. But saying they took that away, no, you had to be at the offseason a certain amount of time, and they decided not to iron it because they don't like you. You think they would have honored that for a Dak? You think they would have honored that for other players? For DeMario and Overshot? Yes, they would have. Also, they probably would have been in town. So it's just like that debate over it, frustrates me. Yes, they did him a little bad, but the other thing I will say is shout out to the Packers for what they've done. They made an excellent trade and getting Micah Parsons. Please shut the hell up. Your team is at the top of the NFC. Why are you whining and crying about why are you whining and crying about Diggs and mentioning that? Like that's the one problem, and I think the Packers are starting to see. I'm hearing whispers. It's like, yeah, that's who he is. He's gonna open his mouth and talking about the officials. He hasn't learned to get that filter. He's media savvy, but not media savvy enough not to know when to talk. My thing is, kudos to you doing your thing. He's probably gonna take some more shots at the Cowboys, and that's fine. But my biggest thing with him is I can't wait to see that big Packer fan base, how they respond. Micah's in the playoff game. Not a lot of pressures and no sacks. I want to see what they say. But on my last point on Micah is, even if he was on his defense, I think you win a game like the Panthers. You win a game like the Panthers because if they didn't have I think their right tackle was out, so he would have found the matchup and made just a play or two. But against the run, they still would have gave up 200 to Rico Dowdle. They still would have gave that up. But if it's a passing situation, he makes the play to make that happen. But the defense was going to be bad regardless. The only disappointment, and I'll die on this hill. If you trade Micah before the draft and you spend that money that you save for Micah on defense, you don't have a shitty defense like you currently do.
Gotcha. Coach, any thoughts on the state of the Cowboys? Whatever, we can move on. I wanted to give these guys the spot since obviously getting there to Tuesday, because I really thought that with the division a couple weeks ago it was kind of there to be had with the Eagles that were struggling. So I thought the Dallas, they could really pick up some ground. Again, they lost 2 out of 3. They had a bad loss, I think, to the Panthers, which was that really set them back. So yeah, that doesn't look like it's going to happen for them this year. But any thoughts on this before we move off the NFL and talk a little MLB?
Just really quick, man. Dallas don't have a defense. They need a defense. The offense will be all right. Their CD came back. They're going to start clicking on offense. But the defense, they don't have no big playmakers on defense, and that's always going to hurt you.
For sure.
And really quick, the second half of the season, y'all see the weather changing. The cream of the crop will start rising. Teams are going to start separating, and you're seeing it now. But over the next 3 weeks, we'll give you a picture of who could potentially be in the playoffs. So,
Gotcha.
teams gotta pick it up.
Got a $10 super chat from our guy. As always, Brother Anton, appreciate you supporting the channel the way you do. Denver Broncos should only wear the orange crush uniforms at home against division rivals. Every time they wear the orange, I think I think about the Super Bowls they got embarrassed in. So I mean, I think they're going to be very good. And again, for the Colts, I think they're on their schedule this year as well. So again, I'll be certainly paying attention certainly to the Broncos and seeing what they can do. But I want to move on certainly to we got the World Series going on, and I got to tell you, very entertaining set of games, very topsy-turvy set. The Game 5 is going on right now. I think the Blue Jays are up 2-1 in the third, and again, very entertaining.
3-1 in the fourth now. 3-1 in the fourth now.
It's 3-1 in the fourth. Yeah, I mean, Toronto offensively, they're pretty hard shut. I mean, take away Game 2. They've been able to put points up, that runs on the board. Game 3, the longest World Series game in history, going 18 innings. And I thought so many times, I even commented to the guys in the chat, I thought they could have won that game. I think they were just a little bit too aggressive on the bases, and ran themselves out of potential scoring innings. But they had every chance. They were up in that game. I think LA had to come back to tie it 5-5. And then it went to 18 innings. But it just seems like this, Guerrero, he might, coming out of this, he might be the MVP coming out of this thing. Shohei's, I think, playing well. But I just think offensively, I didn't see the Blue Jays being this good against the Dodgers. But again, very entertaining series. If you like offense, I think both teams are putting out. But your thoughts? We'll start with the coach at the bottom. I know you've been coaching the girls. I don't know how much of the games you've been able to see, but what do you think? About this series so far? And I think it'll go 7. I think even if Blue Jays win tonight, I certainly I think the Dodgers are going to put their best pitcher out there, Game 6, and it'll be Game 7. Both games in Toronto. But your thoughts on the series so far? And has it changed? If you could remind me who you picked. At the from last, I forget what your picks were from last week, but
I chose Toronto in 6. I think now it'll probably go 7, just because both teams are really hitting the ball well, and I love baseball, so I love the World Series time. But thinking to go down to the wire, you got 2 of the best teams, obviously, in baseball. But we'll see, man. It's a lot of baseball to be played. They had a slugfest, I don't know, a 15-rounder the other day. And, Dodgers, just something about the Dodgers and their full team. Even with Toronto, they strong top to bottom, especially my man, Guerrero Jr. So we'll see, man. It's a lot of good baseball left in this game. It's the top of the 4th. So still got a lot of baseball left.
Mm-hmm. Shorty?
Yeah, that I think I said Blue Jays in 7, but I'm gonna change to say Blue Jays in 6, because I believe I mentioned it in the chat or whatnot, that if it goes 7, I believe the Dodgers going to put Yamamoto on the mound, and that dude's been untouchable. Well, he gave up one each of his last 2 starts, but went complete games. He gave that one, and then just locked down the team, just for the rest of the game. But that game 3. Remember, in the game 3, that's when Springer got hurt. He got hurt like in the 8th or 9th innings. That's a huge bat that could not be with them during them long innings. And then because Toronto was obviously trying to win the game, they did 2 pinch runners. One for Bichette, who's one of their best hitters, and then Kirk, their catcher, who's also a decent hitter. But they pinch run on them, so he was out the game. So when the extra innings would start, I think by after the 12th inning, they was literally just playing. You could see it as the game kept going. Those dudes who was hitting, they just was not at the caliber. They just could not capitalize on, because they had a chance when Kershaw was brought in, but I forgot who was hit the ball, but it was an infield hit, and they was able to get the out. But yeah, that's when Freeman, he closed it out, walked it out. But Blue Jays definitely had their chance to win that game, but it's just the way they managed it, and I can't blame them because he was trying to win the game, but when they pinch running, them dudes wasn't available no more, so they went all them extra innings, and they just didn't have their best hitters on the squad anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised by the Toronto offense, because this is how it was the majority of the season. They have a good offense. They can hit the ball, home runs and everything. But what is surprising, though, they still able to keep this offense up without Springer. Is he out for the rest of the series? I don't know. I hope he could come back to him. He definitely already had his postseason moment when he was the main one, let that game-winning home run versus the Mariners to get them to the World Series. But that's a huge bat that's out their lineup. I mean, right now he's 3rd in MLB postseason history of home runs hit, behind Altuve and Manny Ramirez, I believe. But so that's a huge bat that's out their lineup. But yeah, it's a good series. They baseball is holding their own. They October, World Series when not, cause football is well in swing, basketball is coming up. But baseball, I remember I heard something like, will it be better if baseball kind of have some World Series game during the daytime, like on a Sunday or something like that, because you going against, like, if you put it on a Sunday evening or a Monday evening, you going against the NFL. I'm like, baseball is going to do what baseball do. I mean, that's on their schedule. They're going to keep it in the evening time, let them go. They're going to have their fans watching the game. And right now, it's been an entertaining series, but I think if the Blue Jays' best chance, I think they have to win this in 6.
Gotcha. Dante, your thoughts on the series?
Man, I picked the Dodgers in 5. Obviously, that was not going to go through, but I thought the pitch, I thought the Snell, Moto, and then Ohtani coming in, I really thought that they were going to be able to handle it. I thought they were going to finish. Their best bet was to finish it in LA, because obviously it is tough to play in Toronto. But if you got the pitchers, I see you. But if you got like the strong, but I think I didn't expect the bats to be like this. I thought Betts was going to, have more of the pop. I thought obviously Freeman came with the game winner. I thought the offense was going to be a bit too much, but they haven't really showed up a lot. And I want to say they made some lineup changes. So I think Betts got to step up for them to have a chance. Obviously they're down, but it's still enough time for them to come back. But I want to know I want to see how the effect is starting this game. Because I honestly, I was up trying to get the kids, like my daughter, she had like a field trip, so I was trying to get everything together. So then I had to rewatch some clothes. So I'm like, man, this game is still on. So I'm watching. I literally go to bed and get the notification laying down. Freddie Freeman hits the walk-off. And I was like, man, I really wanted that payoff to see that in real time. But I mean, it's crazy how exciting playoff baseball is. You get the long nature of the sport through the 162 within the playoffs. You get the football feel of hey, it's right now. You have to have it. And, guys just coming up and yeah, you was right. They were too aggressive on the base path, but you got, no risking, no biscuit. They took that strategy. And I understand that from them, but it's been a good World Series. Obviously, sports fans, I think we should care more about the game. It's been good, but if you care about the ratings that look decent from what I saw. And then like I know Otani, cause on the day of the sports equinox Monday, I was flipping between the basketball. And that game wasn't good. I was switching between Monday Night Football and the game. But on Tuesday, Otani was going. I was like I got to see what he's gonna do. And when he like that, man, when he hit that homer, and it's just like he's like man, we had that. I'm glad we had a discussion so people can mark it when they start talking about one of the ghost conversations. You heard it here. We literally said, hey, it's time to entertain it. Now they're literally conversations like Herbal Money Jones say. Only thing basically you can say is he doesn't play the field. He said, we start eliminating things. It's like this guy is really good, and it's like you're never probably going to see anything like this again.
Right.
So we got to buckle up and enjoy it. Like man, the way he's hitting these homers, and it's like when they got to him, and it's just like, now we got to walk him. Like we're scared of him. That reminds me of like Barry Bonds, and it was like, no, there's no chance I'm giving you an opportunity unless I have to. And it's like, no, we're just gonna walk you. And then I saw here, and they walked again, and they walked Mookie, and then they got to Freddie Freeman, and it's just like, gosh, you're gonna face a good batter. You can't walk everybody. So it's like I'm excited to see how it finishes, and I know a lot of people in baseball are probably rooting against the Dodgers because of the payroll, but not just because I have a disdain for the Blue Jays, because that's an old Rangers beef. More so the fact I like seeing excellence. So I'm cool if it goes. I'm cool if it does go seven. You see, in the biggest moment, does Otani bat in the game and then pitch out of the bullpen. I love how in Game 7 in baseball they're gonna throw the kitchen sink, and you just gotta lock in and just enjoy it, man. Because it's fresh
on that game 3, Otani, I think he reached base like 8 or 9 times. So he had 4 for 4 with the 2 home runs and 2 doubles, and then that whole extra inning, they was walking him, walk. I was like, I guess you're not gonna end this game for us.
Yeah, and my thing is, I'm definitely leaning towards Toronto as well, simply because usually after a game like that, you would think the team that loses is like that letdown and whatnot. So you would think it would be a crushing, but they come right back and win the next game 6-2. So I mean, it's like there's no blink in this team, and they just keep coming. And the other thing that's I'm noticing, we may see again, it might be a little bit early. But again, Vlad Guerrero Jr., I think he's on track if they win it to be the MVP of the series. But then also you can have probably the first time now. Coach, correct me if I'm wrong. Has there ever been a father-son in baseball to go to the Hall of Fame? Because his father is already in the Hall of Fame. I know Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. I know Ken Griffey was a good player, but he wasn't a Hall of Fame player. And the son was certainly a lot better than the father. Now the question is going to be, can Junior be greater than his dad? Because I'm just looking at his dad's numbers. He put up some freakish years, 400 and something home runs, 9-time All-Star. His son's a 5-time All-Star, and Vlad, the father, never won a World Series ring. So if he has a World Series to the family and whatnot, we could be looking at, again, the first father-son to go into the Hall of Fame in baseball. At least I don't remember. Maybe some of the 20s or 30s, something like that. But I can't recall.
Maybe one of those. But it's like it's such a deep history. You would think it would have happened, because what's interesting about the Blue Jays, and they mentioned it the other night. When you first heard about they had that young core, it's like they got Bo Bichette, son of an MLB player, and then Vlad Jr. And it was like, hey, those guys led the resurgence to kind of let things go. And then they got George Springer with the championship experience. And it's just like, man, they've been rolling. In fact, Vlad had a chance to win one. He was on the 2010 Rangers World Series team.
Yeah.
So he had, he was there. He got there. But I always wondered, like, random baseball question. I want to see. Have you guys seen that documentary about the not the Blue Jays, but the Montreal Expos? And that really good team they had in '94, and I've heard how great that team was. But I hadn't got to watch the documentary yet.
They had a couple of them in the late '70s. They were really good when they had Gary Carter and whatnot. They were pretty good then as well. But they could just they couldn't get out of the hump there. But that was sad, because I know baseball never really, and it's good because baseball I don't think was a thing. It really was until Cito Gaston got there in the '90s when they went back to back. Is when baseball, I think, was really embraced in Canada. I think prior to that, because I used to watch some of those games when they played in that Olympic Stadium and whatnot, and it would be empty like half the time over there. But I think certainly Cito, when they moved to Sky Dome and now it's the Rogers Center. I think that's when I think baseball really kind of synced in, and you see it. I mean, you see the atmosphere at these games. Those fans really get hyped up, especially when Bautista and those guys get into the fights and all that kind of stuff, and the bat flips, and you just saw the passion of those fans, and so I think it's definitely a lot different than like back in the 70s and 80s when they just it doesn't seem like there was a lot of love there, certainly for the games.
Brother
But
Benny,
I want to, yeah.
let me correct you. It's always been love for baseball. Baseball is America's sport.
I said in Canada, this is Montreal.
Canada.
Montreal.
Oh, in Canada, yeah. But
I'm
yeah,
saying the Expos,
Sure.
they were good. They were good like in the late 70s and early 80s. They
Yeah,
had
man.
Tim Raines. They had a lot of, good players. Gary Carter was on that team, but I don't think the fans like really into it
Yeah.
as they are now. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
certainly,
it's now.
yeah. So again, when Cito Gaston
Yeah.
won back-to-back in the 90s, I thought that's when they really embraced the team. But we got a couple of more super chats, certainly from our guy Dante. Blue Jays in 6. The flags I displayed last week indicated who was winning each game. Shout out to you for that. And then he drops another $5 super chat to us. One reason why I'm picking the Blue Jays, Don Mattingly. Okay, all right. You're gonna have to give me the connection there because I know Don. I don't know. I don't think he managed. I know Mattingly managed the Dodgers. You may have to educate me on your reference there. But in any event, let's move to certainly I think the last block of the show. So I think obviously. Oh, before we get there, just a quick NBA note to get to before we get on to the main. We have Wembyana. Certainly, Spurs 4-0 this season. Again, to me, it's too early for me to typically talk about the NBA, but certainly he seems to be coming out blazing. You see the handles that I sent the video earlier. You see the handles that he has and whatnot. The guy's definitely a unicorn. Do you think this guy already can become the face of the league or a potential MVP or whatever? What do you think the sky's the limit for Wembyana? Is he going to really blossom and be the guy that everybody was? And I got to admit, I was a little bit skeptical at first simply because of his size and his frailty, at least the way he looks. I'm not sure if his body's going to be able to hold up over the long term. And from what I understand, he grew. I think I saw a side by side. He actually grew another inch since he's been in the NBA. So, I wasn't expecting this, but he, is coming out so far, looking very good. What do you think the upper limit is for Wemby in the NBA? Start with Dante. Go start with Shawnee, and we'll go down.
Yeah, I think Wemby, he's definitely going to be the future. Him, you still have Luka. You have some other good young players who should be able to take the man. Because I know it's a question as amongst sports fans and whatnot, how the league gonna be when their current names like LeBron, Steph, KD, names that's been in the league, like all three of them been in the league for over 15 years. So you don't even know how the NBA is gonna look like without them three. And I think Wemby is definitely gonna be one of the ones who is going to take that mantle and push the game forward. Again, I brought up him, Luka. I could think of some more. I just can't think of no more NBA players. But you got two international players, so that kind of goes back to if you try to take it to the global game, especially get to the Olympics. How would that affect the Olympic squads? Because these dudes not gonna play for the U.S. They're gonna play for the respective countries.
Right.
So, but I think.
But can he be the face of the? Can he be the face of the league? I don't know if he can be the face. One, because not only because he's a foreign-born player. I don't know if he's box office. You know what I mean? He's very good and whatnot, but he doesn't. I don't know if he's got.
Remember how he?
No. I mean, in terms of more so marketing, like because you saw with Antetokounmpo. Again, he's he's a great player. He's been a great player, whatnot. I don't know if he quite had the crossover appeal, certainly to the U.S. market. So. When I say box office, it's not just you want to see him, but also, again, can he be the face? Can he be the image? Can he be the guy in the commercials? Can he be all those things the way these other players have been? Because I think if the league is going to be dominated by a lot of these Euro players, I haven't seen any of those guys who stepped out to really become a face like that in the NBA.
they're gonna have to adjust that because that's the reality of the NBA now. Like these foreign-born players, that's your best players are starting to be that. So, but my only thing because all the I think Wemby's fanfare at the draft was about as big as LeBron's. So because of that, it's like it's already kind of like it's already here. So I'm guessing like okay, the fanfare that when he got drafted is already here. So if he lives up to plays up to par to that fanfare, it should naturally just okay take you to being the face of the league. Here come the media deals and all that because you saw a glimpse of it when he got drafted, and it's not like his play is diminished. He's basically proven up to be to that fanfare. So I'm thinking, I'm guessing like okay, it's already here. So he should just continue to ride that as his NBA career takes off, and it should garnish a whole lot more sponsorships and all that here in the U.S. As far as foreign blood, they got to get used to that. So that's the reality the league is in, and that they're gonna have to deal with that. And one last thing you mentioned about his frame, because I remember when he got drafted, they were saying like, hey, you need to bulk up or something, kind of do like what Giannis did. Giannis is kind of similar frame, and all of a sudden Giannis went into the Captain America machine and came out looking like he is now. Yeah. But with Wemby, he's like, nah, I want to keep this. He specifically trains his body like that because it keeps him lean. And right now, and the thing about it, I believe if this was past NBA, yes, he'll need to get bulkier. But in today's NBA, this positionless basketball and whatnot, and they don't bang in the paint as much as they used to. And Wemby's game, his body frame and whatnot, it fits today's league. Wemby has the handles. He can shoot from the perimeter. He can take it in. He's agile. All these Euro steps he could be doing and all that.
He's got the handle. Yeah, he's got
it. So it fits today's NBA. Now, if you go into the past when they banging, then yes, you need to bulk up. But they don't play like that anymore. They play on the perimeter. So Wemby's frame, he can fit right in because it's not like anybody going to scout over him to get a rebound.
Right.
I mean, you saw the picture between he was standing right by Anthony Davis. I mean, Anthony Davis looked like he was just like a 5-foot person standing this dude.
Right.
So he has the size to, combat all the girth he may see in the paint.
Gotcha. Dante, your thoughts on Wemby?
Man, I think his game is exciting enough that they can market it. He's a game because he's, the bigs may not be able to sell shoes, but you can market their game. I would say the only probably thing is similar to Giannis. Giannis speaks better English right now, but how well can you learn English to speak it a little bit in an ad and so that they can pitch it to you? Because we've seen the Spurs be on national TV a lot in their reign. So I don't think that's a problem. And it works for him being in the central time zone. If you want to play him on the East Coast, the audiences can still get a chance on him. Because if you notice, the league will adjust things. The moment LeBron came to LA, they adjusted those West Coast game times. And I really did appreciate that the older I got. But I'll say his game is showing box office. I think that the league, since he's still budding and coming, Luka being in LA, I do think they're going to make a push. They're like, Luka, you're not in Dallas anymore. DFW, great market and everything. But as far as being able to be on the one of the marquee teams in the league, like with the historic, they're gonna push Luka. Jordan Brand is already pushing it. So you're gonna see Luka being pushed. You're gonna see Wembanyama being pushed, and you're gonna see obviously Anthony Edwards. His ad that they had with his second version, his shoe was awesome. I just need him to get back healthy. But the numbers he's putting up are crazy. I felt like he looked strong enough. I'm still going with the route of to play him. You're gonna have a nightmare because the Mavericks. I know they're off to a rough start, but the interior defense, they literally have Anthony Davis and another center, Derek Lively, and he just sliced them in that first game. So it's like, what is he gonna do to the rest of the league? And he's showing it so far. And they're like, yeah, it's real early for MVP talk. It is super early, but I lock in with the NBA early just so I can kind of see who's gonna surprise, who's gonna do what. And the games are on normally when football isn't on. So I kind of trying to pay attention and vibe, but it's scary. the offseason work he did is scary. I know Shawnee, is looking about hey, he's going to play for their Olympic teams. I
Mhm.
still think talent wise, that there are some young guys that they're going to hear for the next couple of years about LeBron leaving. They're looking at Wembanyama,
Mhm.
Steph leaving. They're looking at Luka or Luka's here, or they're looking at this player or that guy coming up. And I think eventually the guys are going to kind of get in the grind and work on themselves. Like shout out to Zion for finally getting it together, but
Mhm.
maybe a little too late. But I'm really looking forward to seeing the future of Wembanyama.
Gotcha. Coach, your thoughts on Wemby? Can he be the face of the NBA? And is he marketable? Being in the San Antonio market, not necessarily the best English. What do you think are his prospects for being the head of the league, face of the league?
I think we should get better. They'll get some people to work with him with that. But he
Mhm.
can be the face of the league if he accepts it.
Mhm.
We had potential players in the last few years, and it seems like nobody wants to be the face of the league. We see it with Anthony Edwards, but I think he could be the face of the league. Again, I don't. Yeah, I think when I look at everybody who has the potential to be the face of the league, it would be him. It would be him because he's taken time outside of basketball to be a better version of himself. He went and spent some time out with the monks or somebody this summer.
Mhm.
So that's a good upside for him.
Right.
And the NBA would rather have that image representing them than somebody who's just out here running the streets.
Right.
You know,
Well, yeah. Well, I don't think a lot of these guys are out there. I guess by face, I'm asking something that's difficult to do because there's been few faces of the league, right? There's been Jordan, there's been LeBron, you could say Steph Curry, but the ask is again not only your play on the court again, and it's what the fans want because Dante was saying, okay, yeah, they'll push Luka, but just like in wrestling, right? If you're a wrestling fan, you can't push a guy, right? Because usually the fans they know when a guy's getting a push versus someone they like. They're gonna like who they're gonna like. I'm like, who is the typical NBA fan? Who are they going to buy their jersey, and who are they going to stay up past? Because again, when you had Golden State win them championships and whatnot, people on the East Coast were staying up past 11, 12 o'clock at night to watch the Warriors. You know what I mean? You didn't have to push that. It just was. So I don't know if you have that kind of player now, and the current MVP, the brother with the OKC. I mean, he's obviously a very talented player. He's fluent, English, all those things. But is he somebody that people are gravitating to, despite as good as he is? What's that?
Personality-wise, I don't think we see it in the personalities. But as players win, as players, continue to get better, you're going to see, I would say, Shea Gildress and Wemby, I could see them being possibly the face of the league. But you also have Jason Tatum, who could be pushed and elevated to that league once LeBron and Steph are gone. But we got to see how he comes back off of injury.
Yeah,
See,
he's
as long as
got
they
a long
stay
battle
injury
from him.
free
Yeah.
and he can stay, I say year 6 or 7, you should see him elevating the game more. It's going to be more 7-footers playing point guard and all this extra stuff we don't want to see him doing.
Well,
Yeah.
I think
It just seemed to me the last guy who I thought had a chance to really step up, and unfortunately his off the court stuff was Ja. I thought Ja Morant, he was poised to be that guy, but we all know what happened there.
and
But
that's to show how. Only thing I think, 'cause I think one of the things is because you mentioned with the Warriors and whatnot, people wasn't accustomed. Well, they didn't see that ability from Curry like that, where he was just knocking threes left and right on teams. So they wanted to see it for themselves. So they were willing to stay up late, even though it was a West Coast team they were seeing. I think Wemby, because his size and skill set, I think ultimately, if the success of his team grows, I think that will come. Because other than that, like we have to face it, man. Today's NBA is just not what they do on the court. Today's NBA players, like the leaders of the NBA today, they have put themselves to be also in the spotlight of social justice. So if you looking at a face and whatnot, you know, they
Jaylen Brown. I mean,
Jaylen Brown, yeah, but Jaylen Brown definitely, you know, he's already doing that social justice work right now. But he already plays for the Celtics, and we already just talking about Tatum is potentially looked at. I think they kind of cancel each other out as a face because people still to this day you hear debates about who team is it between Browns or Tatum's. But it's just that's what I'm saying. Like once these elders, basically, they all over 35 of NBA players retire, it's going to be different. It's going to be a whole lot different on how the NBA is viewed with this new generation because they don't walk like the current old heads do.
Mhm.
They kind of it's just different. Just think about the same youth that we see in our everyday lives and how they live on social media and how you could tell that they not like how people were in the past, the generation before the past. That same youth is the ones that's going to be employed, occupying the NBA. So that same culture, whatnot, they just don't. Like I said, you can't see like right now we having an issue trying to find out who's going to be that dude because you can't just say NBA skill set.
Mhm.
We think about personality and all that.
But you know what the thing is? I think Tatum obviously got the championship, and he's been on the stage for a while, but he doesn't quite have the personality. And what I will say is,
And you gonna say that about a lot of different players.
and the problem is with this current market. All right, the NBA did itself a disjustice, and something that I can say is it might be early, it might be hyperbole. Some of it is hyperbole, but the way NBC Peacock covers the league versus the way we see ESPN Skip Bayless build himself up. We've seen all the other people build themselves up, and the actual face of the league that's been chosen basically since he came into the league to take over and be the face of the league. We've seen him just get shitted on left and right. So who wants to do that if I'm already, like they said, somebody mentioned it, I can't remember who it was. They said face of the league was such an honor at a previous generation because also it meant the money too that got the opportunity. When you come in and LeBron started to change it, you come in with $100 million shoe or $90 million shoe deal, making more than what you're getting from this contract, and then the league money goes up. So the mid-level guys are getting 25. So why do I need to be the face of the league and get shitted on left and right? You shit on LeBron, and guys can be honest about themselves and take a true pill. I'm not him, but I'm at this level now, but he did this for 20 years. Why do I want to deal with that? So yeah, you get guys not want to deal with it. Another guy that had a chance after Ja was Anthony Edwards, but hey man,
he already said he didn't want it. But like I said, I thought that's why.
But his kids said they didn't want it either. Those situations were going to be much louder and visible. And it's like I know they put him on the starting five show, and now they got the starting five show with Kevin Durant on it, and you see him at the end of his career. But it's just like somebody is going to step up eventually, and the league is always going to get marketed. But I do think they're going to have to change the way they cover the league. Like I know they say it with kid gloves and all that, but you got to realize some of the market that you're consuming to and pitching to, these people, obviously, we would consider old heads now as far as millennials. But the generation after us, Gen Z, they're starting to come out and become adults and be consumers of the people in the NBA. So how they want to consume it is changing because of the streaming world. Streamers are big and social media, so they're going to have to find a way to do it. I would say, obviously, an easy route is they need to do a playoff stream with like a constant net and things like that. So like push the league to these fan bases and these guys. And I say that was something that would help. If Adam Silver could get his foot out of his mouth, that would help as far as pushing the league. But most importantly, you might not be able to have a face of the league if the face of the league might be Las Vegas. I'm talking about gambling. So they gotta, or maybe the mafia that case is looking out. And this is
Well, speaking. Well, thank you for this. Unless Coach, you had one more thing to say, we'll go on to our last segment. You good? You muted, Coach. Coach, you muted.
Okay. Say it again.
No, I'm saying, did you have any more comments before we move on to the last block? Or
No, man, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
We
All
move on
right.
to the
Speaking of that, thanks for setting the table, Dante. So we're going to get into our last, certainly, topic of tonight. Obviously, the big story from this past week, the raid, the FBI there's actually two separate scandals or two separate incidences that have happened. The first one is with the gambling, the point shaving. So you had Terry Rozier, who was I guess part of a move where, and the guy's making like 25 million a year, by the way. But he was involved in, letting guys know when he come off an injury and whatnot. So, because now, especially with sports betting, it's not just betting on games. It's all, you can bet almost on anything, on player stats and whatnot. So he was sharing information. First of all, his own personal information as well as information on other players regarding their health. So his friends could then go and bet, on unders in terms of, minutes and numbers. Like I said, there's so many different, I can't even keep up with it all. But certainly he was arrested in that. So you had that scandal going on. I haven't heard that kind of thing going on since back in, remember that referee back in the day, I think McDonald, something like that. Back in the day, he got arrested for, that sort of thing. McDonough, thank you.
Yeah.
So he got arrested for that back in the day. And then on the second half of that, so will you bring in Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones, these poker games, where basically, some people, again, in that community, and again, I know nothing about poker or that world or how that works, but from what I understand, there's a lot of private, high-stakes poker games where a lot of people want to play simply because with celebrities. If a celebrity's going to be there, like Chauncey Billups or someone of note, guys want to be able to play in those games, and these are oftentimes high-end poker players who know the game, thinking that, they'll get an easy paycheck against Chauncey, but a lot of those games were fixed. So either they're doing cards or they're doing digital scanners and whatnot, where you had these professional level poker players coming out getting raked over the coals, and this whole operation you talk about in the tens of billions of dollars of exchanges. Now we also saw earlier in the year, we saw a man from the Bullets. He got busted for gambling, for hosting games. Now again, they didn't say he was necessarily doing anything as far as fixing these poker games, but I think it was basically he was having illegal games.
Gilbert Arenas,
Arenas, thank you. Yeah, so he was doing it. Now again, rumors are saying, again, I'm not here to validate anything. He's saying basically to get a deal for himself, he might have turned rat and ratted out other guys who were participating. But there were 34 arrests overall. Like I said, these are the three most prominent here. But again, the mafia is involved. I mean, I haven't heard. Honestly, I haven't even been keeping up the mafia like that. Last time I heard about the mafia, I know they used to run Las Vegas back in the 60s and 70s, but I wasn't sure they were operating like that. But apparently, there's still an issue, in the country. So, big scandal overall. But again, the question still is, you got these guys who've made millions of dollars, and I get it. Gambling could be an addiction, or the high that you get from it, or people just enjoy it, or what have you. But why would you risk at this point in your career? You're long gone from the days when guys were making $50,000 a year. You're making millions of dollars, and you will put yourselves in a situation to not only scam others for their money with these fixed games, but also why would you fix games? I mean, you're gonna, people are gonna bet on you, and what the money's gonna be what, maybe $1 million, and then you got to split the purse there. Rozier was making like $250,000 a game. So it doesn't make sense to me why this is, and I'm not going to go political here with the, cause. I've heard people talk about, this administration in particular is going after the NBA and all this kind of stuff. I'm not going there with that, but more so just the decisions that these guys are making, with their careers. It's sad. But I'll stop there. You guys can take it any way you want to go. I didn't want to, like I said, go too much into this conspiracy of the politics of the matter. But Shawnee, your thoughts on this bus, and really there could be other ones coming. We don't know.
what's going to be coming up next here. But yeah, this was certainly something at the start of the NBA season. This is not the kind of news that you want to hear.
I'm looking at Anton's comment about Rozier could be banned for the NBA because similar to what we saw with Jonte Porter a couple of seasons ago, last season, a couple of seasons ago, when he got banned for his gambling.
Yeah.
I think, and think about it, because he was literally just coaching the night before, and then next morning, boys came up to his house getting ready to arrest him. Chauncey Billups. And remember, Chauncey Billups, he's a Hall of Famer now. And this, and however far down the rabbit hole the Cubs do when it comes to him, I wouldn't be surprised if he is potentially banned from the league, and also his Hall of Fame position could be taken away from him. Because these leagues do not play about that gambling, even though his thing wasn't the fact that he was gambling per se on the games.
No, he was part of the illegal poker game, so it had nothing to do with the NBA.
The problem is, I heard, and into the details is, he didn't. What I've been reading, he didn't bet on any games he was in, but he bet on other games. And my thing is that you have other information that you can feed to as a head coach of the NBA of injury reports and information that you know. Because if you ever look at those lines, they're pretty damn accurate of how things play. So it's bad.
Well, and I'm looking at Black Man's comment about it's crazy that gambling is the biggest sponsor of sports, but you can't gamble within. That's just because if you allow players to gamble within, what's the biggest thing that sports have that what they fans love about it? You can't fans. The ends of games can't be determined. The teams go out there and legitimately play against each other to determine a victor. And if the integrity of the game is lost in any fashion, then those leagues are done. Because nobody would be investing their money anymore on sports if now we know that these games are predetermined, the winner is going to be predetermined. So that's the biggest reason why sports is big as they are. That's the biggest reason why fans, I know it's not the NBA, but in the NFL, the Cleveland Browns continue to go buy tickets because every year they believe, okay, maybe our team, this will be a different year. So the fans have that hope every season. So, and as long as they have that hope, hell, we see it down here in Dallas. And the Cowboys haven't done anything, but they still believe the fans, so they still continually pay their money. And once you take away that, and you take the integrity of the game, that fans believe that, man, these games are predetermined. Y'all gonna sit here and determine who's gonna win, but who the players are gambling or whatnot. Then these sports will die because the fans will be no longer to support them. So I think it's huge that players of these respective leagues do not participate in gambling, because then you literally put your respective league on their deathbed. So that's the thing with Chauncey Billups is just, yeah, if however deep this thing goes about him, yeah, I could see his Hall of Fame spot just get wiped off as well. These leagues, they take gambling serious. I mean, is it a catch-22? Yes, because they once they open up that Pandora's box to really officially accept gambling on their respective sports and the money that comes to these leagues from gambling, they say, man, it's good for the fans to gamble, but it's like a protective wall around the league for their players. They don't want that to infiltrate into their respective league, because they know if it happens, and then you literally just committed suicide to your respective league.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Got another $5 super chat from Anton. Adam Silver could make Terry Rozier the Pete Rose of the NBA. Yeah, that's certainly a possibility.
Well, John Murray already did that.
Yeah. Dante, you want to go next on this?
I'm going to start with a lighthearted joke that I saw, because the rest of this is going to be dark and bad. Somebody said the way the NBA used to handle its gambling scandals, there was a picture of Michael Jordan when he was playing with the Birmingham Barons. The long-going rumor that it was a secret suspension for gambling. And I thought that was really funny. because this is not a joke at all. This is terrible. You potentially had, because my thing is, I'll say this: I don't give a damn about the illegal poker players. If you're playing a poker game with some shady guys, and you're kind of going into this, you're making this for yourself. If you want a poker game in which you can go and it's legitimized, you need to go to Atlantic City. Heard it's a good time. And you go to Las Vegas. I heard it's a good time, and you can go and do that. Or if you want to do a small one with your friends or whatever, cool. But they're coming over here with X-rays and things like that, and the house always wins. So you set yourself up for that. I don't give a damn about that. But if you telling me that potentially, because this is all potential, everybody's innocent until they're proven guilty. You had an NBA head coach in pocket from the mafia. I read the article, and there was somebody a part of the indictment. I do, and I'll get to this other part later. His nickname was Quack Quack, and his $5 million bail was denied because he's before been in jail and said, "Hey man, we take care of witnesses," and he's doing a gun gesture motion while he was in jail. So he can't even get released from jail because they think of what he could do to potential witnesses. This is terrible. How are you getting mixed up with a guy named Quack Quack and you're a multimillionaire? Also, Terry Rozier has an $8 million tax lien on his home, so you're compromised financially, and then you're tied to the mafia, and allegedly $200,000 cash was delivered to your door. There are a lot of things in this to where they have to have these guys. Jonte, what is his name? Porter kid, the Porter kid, because he's related to the Porter brother. Who kind of threw him under the bus as well. But I mean, I guess it's already out there, so it didn't matter. But no, they have to come down with a punishment, lifetime bans for being involved with. I would say I want to make it so bad that even who is the Jones? I forgot his first name. He probably. I don't even want him working with
Damon Jones.
Damon Jones. I don't even want him work. I don't want these guys around anything associated with basketball. They need to be blackballed for at least 15 years because this could cripple the NBA. And I told my friends, "Oh man, they fixed games like this." I was like, "No, if you take the integrity of the game away, somebody's gonna Google up and it's gonna be on TikTok in 10 minutes. Oh, remember Tim Donaghy? Remember what he did this? And all these conspiracy stories and the finals is rigged. This is that. All these type of things to blacken the game. The league that can most stand this is the NFL. MLB, they could take it on too, but it would hurt. But the NBA taking this on when it's the most easily fixable game because of a referee's whistle is so much and everything is subjective. Like this is a foul call, this team plays physical. That literally you have the records of officials in all sports, but definitely basketball. Who was the official they used to let just go crazy and just kind of do crazy stuff and get into it? And I think he threw like he has a beef with Chris Paul.
Was that
like
Bavetta? Was it Bavetta?
Bavetta was one that was bad. I can't think of the other one. The one I'm thinking of, Chris Paul has a terrible record against him. And I remember, I think that one guy, I don't know, it wasn't Dick Bavetta, but there was one official that Tim Smith Duncan was laughing, gave him a tech, threw him out. And I was just like crazy stuff that officials can tell game. Because the thing is, this is just the players. What if we go back into looking at officials? Right. They've got to seal this off. They've got to cut this off. It's time for Adam Silver, who's had a tough go at it. A lot of NBA fans don't like Adam Silver. I have a problem with him. But he's got to stop this because
Scott Foster.
Scott Foster, that's him.
There you go.
Thanks, Scott Foster.
Thanks, Ronnie.
Thank you for that one. But I'll say this: they got to put a lid on this because it's like we have a good start to the season. I love the feel of the NBA being back on NBC, making ESPN step their game up. Amazon coverage is really good. We got good coverage, and then we got a freaking scandal. This has to be resolved immediately, as fast as it possibly can.
What's up, man, bro?
Gotcha. All right, Coach. I know you've been sounding like chomping at the bit here, so why don't you get on this, man? What are your thoughts on this?
Man, listen, man. Don't gamble when you play sports. Even if you watching the game, don't be betting on the games, man. They know that. It's funny that they would go to these three guys that are just in the league. It's a bigger play than these three guys. Nobody can tell me that these three guys put together a gambling ring that big. So the NBA need to quit playing. Everybody need to quit playing and go after the real crooks. These are just people who are pawns in the game. And it's unfortunate that guys making enough money to live a comfortable life, live a straight comfortable life, and dabble and dabble in these, these trick bag gambling schemes. scheme. So stay away from that. Anybody making some money,
Mhm.
just all money ain't good money, and I'll leave it there.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to go back to what Black Man was saying about, the league obviously is in bed with gambling. All major sports are at this point in time. And again, the crazy ways they allow you to gamble almost on every aspect of a player's dimensions, good games, bad games, point spread, all kinds of things that they're on. But again, there's a huge difference. Because I don't mind guys gambling, like Dante said. If you want to go to Vegas or Atlantic City or Mohegan Sun or any of these places to gamble, again, there's rules, right? You need a gambling license. There's legitimate places you can go if you want that thrill of gambling. But then to go to these illicit games and to have it where the games are rigged. Now, again, you should have common sense not to go to those things. But again, in that community, that's why I said I don't know that community very well. But from what I understand, it's like, yeah, a lot of the greatest poker players. So when you talk about ESPN, when they did World Series of Poker and whatnot, all those guys got their comeuppance playing in games like this. The issue was, I don't know if necessarily the mob was involved. If they were, again, FBI was launching a sting operation to get them. But that's the thing. If you're going to be if I'm going to participate in that, it would almost be like I don't want to be in that setting with high profile people, right? I mean, if you're going to be these underground games and whatnot, you want quiet. Why would you want a Chauncey Billups or some star or some celebrity or whatnot to be there when that person could be trailed by anybody? You don't want to be known. You don't want to be seen in these things. So if I was one of those guys, the last person, I wouldn't want to be anywhere where there's any star or any celebrities, period. But even if you went there, the fact that they're rigging games, that is drastically different than from going to Atlantic City or whatever and being in a sanctioned game where there's rules, where there has to be stuff up front. And as long as everybody knows we're playing this game fairly, and if you beat me or if I lose, then fine, I lose here, take my money. But when you got, again, guys going up there, Chauncey Billups can't play with these guys. But if you know what the result of the game is going to be of the hand before it even comes out, then you can't beat that. So I think that it's not fair to the guys who take the game seriously. And so to me, that's a drastic difference, say, from a DraftKings or something like that. Now, as far as the fixing of games, again, I thought we were past that. Like I said, back in the day when guys were making not even $500,000 a year and they were just looking for ways to supplement their income, yeah, it made sense. To me, it doesn't make sense for a guy making more money. You're going to potential to lose more than what you would gain from these winnings. And so why would you set yourself up for that? So I would have take a drastic difference between illegal gambling versus the legal stuff. And I thought that the fact, and this is what everybody wanted, right? They were saying, oh, well, you would eliminate a lot of this underground stuff if you just legalize it. We say this all the time, whether it be drugs or anything else, legalize weed and the problem goes away. Here we legalize gambling to such an extent where, yeah, you can, a lot of stuff is open and people still feel the need to have the stuff goes on.
It's like they want to
and
make
it tarnishes the game.
box bigger.
Was that?
Yeah, and
It's like they want to make that hole in Pandora's box bigger. It's like you already got a small hole, but you just not satisfied with that. You want more. You want more. You want more.
they wanted it, and they
something else.
and they got it. And here's the funny thing: when y'all first started Story, did y'all see it on the website? Or did y'all see it on ESPN?
I saw the ESPN clip, but then I looked at other, especially those in the gambling space, because again, those guys have, I guess, a more understanding. 'Cause like I said, I didn't quite have a full understanding of how that stuff worked, or how even when you go to these houses, they got cameras in the back, they got the X-ray machines, they got all these tricks and things to already know what's going on. Then they got ways to communicate to people. Guys on his phone. Which, again, why these days you would want somebody on the phone doing a poker game? He's watching the hand on his phone. Like, he's getting fed information to say that this is the hand that you guys have. Fold or go all in. So again, it's the way it's rigged up. It's like, You don't want any association if you don't have to.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was making a point about where you saw it. It's like we're seeing it from the NBA, and it's like, oh man, this. If you watch the segment on ESPN, oh man, got the gambling story. We're talking about that. This is terrible. Then right after that, ESPN bet commercial, and then a DraftKings commercial, and then the face of the NBA, LeBron James, in an ad for gambling, but for football.
Yeah.
So it's just like my thing is, guys, and I feel you, black man, about the thing, but it's you have to keep the integrity of the game. It's the same reason why I understand baseball stance on the baseball player kicking him out and everything. And I understand it because once you lose the integrity of the game, then you lose everything that has to it. And it's like if you're going to let the guys come in and gamble, I think obviously, legalize gambling and let the face of the league be a part of gambling on another sport, obviously not on basketball. Hey, man, you got to tell them, if I catch you gambling, I don't care from LeBron to Steph, you're out of the league, and I'm going to put the harsh punishment on you. But it needs to be scrutinized looking at these guys. Like, it had to be a fine-tooth comb to be like, hey, I see Terry Rozier. I see that you came out of a game and you have an $8 million tax lien. It's time to sit you down. Malik Beasley, all the debts and things that he owed and the gambling that he was involved with. Like, the NBA did a poor job of trying to sweep it under the rug, and they should have got on top of this. Now they have to permit a commission report by Friday about why they didn't find these things. And I think the only thing that would be acceptable is, hey, this is a part of a sting operation, and the FBI told us to let this ride.
But now you also gave certainly the government, or like I said, the current administration, to be all up in your biz now. You know what I mean? So
Every bit, and that's the last thing you want.
the last thing you want the feds. You got antitrust. You got all kinds of things that you just open yourself up to all these kind of things that could potentially be bad. But just also want to give a $10 again shout out to Anton again for sponsoring the show tonight. Another $10 super chat. In Europe, all the top soccer leagues have policies banning betting houses as kit sponsors. Don't be surprised that the big four, NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL also follow suit.
We say kit sponsors. Are you talking about like the DraftKings houses, or what do you? Because like some of these deals are already locked in. Like they're literally going to have a point where you can bet at the game. Like before the thing came down, I know the Cowboys have a deal with WinStar. It's a local casino in like the next Oklahoma. They're the official casino of the Cowboys. So there's going to be a point where it's going to gamble. It's going to be right there in their stadium for people.
But
so
correct me if I'm wrong. Texas doesn't allow gambling still.
No,
it's still
they
legal.
don't allow gambling. Still illegal.
DFW is an hour away from the border, and Oklahoma does.
Yeah,
so
Oklahoma is like WinStar. They literally built WinStar to be.
They got to keep the wall up, even though you can go across the state. They got to keep that wall to
It's literally the Red River, and then WinStar.
Red River.
So they
And
right
you
there
get
waiting.
the WinStar, it's like it may be an out. It may be like they have buses that go in everything.
Oh,
That's why they're pushing. That's why they're pushing to keep gambling out of Texas. Like it's wild. It's wild.
I again, unless you're going to put again, if you can go across state, I don't get what the prohibitions are for. But we'll have go into final thoughts. I see BMU in the back. I don't know if you want to sort of chime in on this if you wanted to, but if you do, you just speak at any time. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, I know you're finna end. Just real quick. Also, just to add to what Dante said, in WinStar, I think it's WinStar or the other one. But when you go into Oklahoma, there's a big old sign with Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith, and it says the Casino of the Dallas Cowboys. You see what I'm saying?
And again, and they allow you to bring the winnings back, right? You go there and win big money. You can bring it. You're not breaking interstate commerce laws if you bring the money back with you. But for some reason, Texas has to make their last stand, like at the Alamo, and say no gambling in Texas. I don't understand that. But
it's the minute they got a big old sign up there. I don't know if you'd have been Dante in a minute. They got a big old sign of Jerry Jones with a cowboy hat on, Emmitt Smith with a cowboy hat on, Michael Irvin, bro, on the sign, bro, that says, "Welcome to Cowboy Casino, WinStar Casino."
Crazy.
Yes, and there's two of them because they split it up. Some of them are at WinStar, but then like AT&T Stadium is one place. The Rangers' old ballpark is right next to the Cowboy Stadium, and it's right next to the old stadium. That one is sponsored by a place called Choctaw. It's in another place in Oklahoma, the competitor. They have Butch Rodriguez, Troy Aikman, and I think Emmett for that one, and then the other guys on the other one. So they got the triply split up, and it's just insane that just like all this gambling is here. And I know they thought about the money, but they might not have thought about I know nobody likes to talk about morality, but it's kind of like it's here now.
Yeah, what happened to that? What happened to the Bible Belt here? What happened
the Bible Belt is destroyed. That was fake. That's why them holding on. We got all this liquor. You can't drink it. Obviously, here it's dry. You can't have it on Sundays. You can buy it up all you want on Saturday night, and you can, you can still buy.
Well, we got to stay dry on Sunday.
You can get a cowboy. You can get a Cowboy Rita on Sunday on the Lord's Day.
Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy.
It's so many contradictions, man. You are not lying about that.
Oh my God!
The gambling is everywhere. You have the stadium. You literally have a high school game. It's like, hey, where are we playing the game tonight? Oh, Choctaw Stadium. There's a high school game here, and it's just like it's insane. The gambling that's infiltrated, and it's like I think we're gonna look back in 50 years, and they're gonna look like, what are you guys doing?
Hey, you got defenders of the faith. But in any event, I'm going to put my closing thought in. So, again, it was mentioned earlier today, again, Nick Mangold, again, being from the New York, New Jersey area, certainly a stalwart of the Jets. I mean, certainly he would go certainly into the Jets, I guess, if they have like a Ring of Honor or similar type of honoring, he'll definitely go in there. But he might be a Hall of Famer someday. I mean, especially the way they rate Hall of Famers these days. 7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro. Some people may make a case that he could be in potentially, but 41 years old. I believe he died of liver cancer. I believe was what took him out. But again, very sad. But I know certainly in this area, big blow to Jets Nation. And like Antonio was saying earlier, maybe people were inspired. By his death for the Jets to get that first win. But just want to honor him, salute to him, certainly in his time and his family in this particular time. But as Coach would say, now I won't steal his thunder. Your health is your wealth towards the end of the day. So again, all the best to his family. But Shawnee, any final thoughts before we end the show?
I don't really have no final thoughts today. It's been a pretty good show, so
Absolutely. Dante, you good?
Man, I'm good. Just Pandora's box. Beware, man. Beware. Embrace yourself, sports fans, because the other leagues are looking at this and be like, let's clean our house up. So just beware. That's why I put that in my caption about Pandora's box, man. It's wide open.
Gotcha. Coach?
Nah, man, really quick, man. Listen, man, salute to all the athletes around the world, man. Protect yourself. Stop making crazy decisions. Talk to somebody that can give you the best advice possible, man. Don't gamble your money. Don't gamble with nobody. Don't make a bet with your friend. You are the athlete. You are the bag. So protect your bag for the long term, man. Other than that, man, make sure y'all get your checkups, man. Stay healthy. We getting older and uglier, whether we like it or not. We got to be around a long time, though, for our loved ones, man. So salute to y'all, man. Just keep doing what y'all doing, man, for real.
Absolutely. And also what I'm learning, again, I just turned 56 on Monday. Enjoy every day, because you don't know when you're going to lose it, right? So, again, when you see especially guys like Mangold died at 41, you just don't know when your time is. So, again, you better learn how to appreciate the day and the time that you're in, those around you. Tell those around you that you love them. And just count your blessings in this particular time. So with that, looking at the game here, 3-1, top of the 7th. Blue Jays still up. So again, looking forward to see if they can push, try to close it out next game, or see if the Dodgers can push to a Game 7. But again, pretty exciting World Series so far. So looking forward to that. But
I got one last thing I forgot to mention. On a personal note. I was trying to hide my excitement about it. I haven't announced it to social media. But my daughter got accepted to her alma mater. Found out yesterday.
Get out. Congratulations.
And then, like I told her,
you're going to be moving into school, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to be moving to school. So she got accepted to Prairie and now. So it's like, look, I know the ropes. I wasn't trying to push it too hard because that's my alma mater. So I was like, I wasn't trying to do it too much, but I was like, I'm telling you, you're gonna like it. And so she got accepted, and so I ain't put it out publicly because I'm trying to get everything, all the ducks in order. I have a big post about it, but I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations, man.
It's funny, Anton, you
Yeah.
mentioned in Blue Laws. I actually I went to American Dream Mall, so it's one of the biggest malls in the country. And apparently there's a lawsuit because Bergen County, New Jersey is the only county in New Jersey that still has blue laws on Sundays where you're not supposed to be selling stuff. There's a big lawsuit against American Dream Mall because of that, and I saw that a lot of that on Sunday. But yeah, Nick Mango was inducted. Okay, just Ring of Honor 2022, died of complications with kidney disease. Yeah, like I said, definitely, rest in peace to him and his family. But we appreciate you guys certainly being here tonight. Make sure you hit the like button certainly on the way out, but certainly for myself, for Shawnee, for Dante, and for the coach of the 8-year-old girls team. Doing your thing, winning games. Right, we're gonna hear the big reports.
More than the youth.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you're gonna be doing this thing. Appreciate you being here, showing up. Hey, thumbs up. It's up. It's going in the upward direction. It's going in the
Hey,
upward
Brother
direction.
Bennett, just so you know, it's 5th and 6th grade, so it's like
So they're
Yeah,
older.
yeah.
So yeah, so like 10, 12.
Yeah,
All right, 10 and
yeah.
12-year-olds. All right,
Yeah.
cool. Oh, awesome. So
we'll see.
so again, looking forward to the praise reports, and keep your voice though. Stay calm. Stay calm. You'll be all
Tell
right.
the little black kids to start acting right. I won't lose. They won't get me down. Get the
I hear
black
you, man. All right, thank you guys for joining us tonight. Appreciate you guys for everyone. Have a great week. Take care. God bless. And I'm going to see if I can set this up ahead of time. So I'm always looking for it. They're always moving it on me before I can get out of here. But I'm going to try to find this guy and end the show on the right note. Whether or not we went over our time or not, we'll see. But here we go. I'm going to select the outro, set the outro video, and we are out. Good night.
Peace.